This tutorial is for 3rd grade, Module 2, Lesson 2. In this lesson, we'll continue to look at time, and we're going to use a number line to help us understand the passing of time. The directions say to follow the directions to label the number line below. The first direction says, Ava gets ready for school between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. Label the first and last tick marks as 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. So I'm going to go up to my number line and we'll label the first mark as 7 a.m. and the last mark as 8 a.m. And you can see the number line has been divided into 5-minute increments to show the time between 7 and 8 a.m. The next direction says, Eva starts getting dressed at 7:10 a.m. Plot a point on the number line to represent this time, and above the point write D. So if I start at 7 a.m. and I move across 10 minutes to 7:10 a.m., I will mark it here and put a D to show that point. Next it says that Ava starts eating breakfast at 7:35 a.m. Plot a point in the number line to represent this time and write an E above that point. So again, starting at the left, there's 7 a.m. and I'll move across to 7:35 a.m., put a point and mark an E. Now Ava starts brushing her teeth at 7:40 a.m. Plot a point on the number line to represent this time. Above the point, write a T. So here would be 7:40 a.m. And the last two directions say Ava starts packing her lunch at 7:45. So we'll find 7:45 and we'll plot that with an L. And Ava starts waiting for the bus at 7:55. We'll find 7:55 and we'll plot that as a W. So the purpose here is for the students to look at that time as moving across a number line. In the next section I have 4 different clocks and I have to draw a line from the clocks to the points on the number line showing their individual times. If I look at the first clock, it's not quite 6 o'clock. In fact, it's 10 minutes before 6 o'clock. Since an hour is made up of 60 minutes, 10 minutes before 6 o'clock would be 5:50. So I would mark 50 on the number line because it starts at 5 p.m. So 5:50 is at this point, and I will connect the clock to that point. The second clock is showing us 5:15, or 15 minutes past 5 o'clock. I start at 5 o'clock, find the 15 minutes past it, and I'll connect that clock to that point. Next I have 5:40, or 40 minutes after 5 o'clock. That would be marked here. Connect that clock to the 5:40. And if I look at my last clock, it's after 5 o'clock. Since the minute hand is pointing at the 5 and each section is considered 5 minutes. Here's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That means I'm 25 minutes past 5 o'clock. So I find the 25-minute mark past 5 o'clock, and that clock points to that time, 5:25. The next question says that Noah uses the number line to locate 5:45 p.m. Each interval is 5 minutes. Label the number line to show his work. So we need to find 5:45 p.m. on the number line. Well, since it starts at 5 p.m. and each interval is worth 5 minutes, we just need to skip count to find the 5:45 mark. So I would start at 5 p.m., 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. This mark would be 5:45 p.m. And that makes sense because if I kept going, the next increment would be 5:50, 5:55, and then 6 p.m. The last question says, Tanner tells his little brother that 11:25 p.m. comes right after 11:20 a.m. Do you agree with Tanner? Why or why not? If we look at the times closely, 11:25 p.m. and 11:20 a.m., I would agree that 11:25 would come directly after 11:20, except for the fact that the first time is 11:25 p.m., the second time is 11:20 a.m. So since one is referring to night and one is referring to morning, no, I would not agree with Tanner. 11:25 will come much later than 11:20 a.m.